I
Here
got
I
you
am.
now.
Can you see me?
I got you
Let
now. Spotlight me
me
up.
put
Wow. Whoa. Put the shield on.
more hair on the face.
Nothing wrong
All
with
right.
that. Turn
So
it down, dim it.
a while back, I think the last two bowls that I did, or last three bowls that I did, had some coloring on it, and Eddie made mention of how I colored it and whatnot. So I wrote up my process and how I use Riptide, which is a tie dye medium that's sold in the grocery stores, Walmart. You can get it online, but typically you take your white T-shirt and you dab the stuff on, and you pour half the bottle into the washing machine, and you let the washing machine with the heat transfer take place. But I have found that it takes just a little bit of dye added to some denatured alcohol or acetone, and I'm sure it would work with mineral spirits as well, but my preferred method between acetone and denatured alcohol is DNA. And so I use that to add color to my woods. I'm out here in Tucson, so pretty much specifically, I'm isolated to found on groundwood of mesquite and red eucalyptus and desert olive wood. Every now and then I'm able to go down or go up to New Mexico and get some juniper that burned up in the Big Bear Fire back in 2012. But anyhow, so I like to add color to some of my turnings, and so I've got a few items that I pulled out here in the shop, and I'll show them off, and then we'll look at a little bit of coloring. I wasn't able to set anything up to put it on the lathe to do, but I've got a piece of maple where we can mix a couple colors and put it on the maple and see how it transposes. So if you guys are interested in seeing this,
Ready when you are.
or if you're not, you're going to get to see it anyhow. So let me flip the camera around. And so we're going to go ahead and show and tell here. So here's some of the stuff that I've got laid out to look at. So this was a boring piece of white juniper, which would have looked like that. And so I dyed it, obviously red. And so this was burned up in the fire, so whatever the heat did to the wood did this neat, it's not spalling or anything like that, but it charred wherever the little limbs were at. And it just made for a beautiful, beautiful pieces when you dye it. These markers don't show up unless you dye it. And then for the little knob here, that's a piece of mesquite. Brown wood dyed black. And you know, it's just the dye. It's just amazing how it does what it does. And in my write-up, I talked about doing bands. This is kind of a thing I like doing these little wave bands. This is snap box. And if I had a CA or a lacquer type finish on here, that band would look three-dimensional with the way it lays on there. But again, it's just how the dye just adds something to it. There's a big piece of elm, another nondescript piece of wood, dyed purple, and this has just got shine juice on it. Just, I don't know, 4 or 5 years old. I haven't even looked at it in about 3 years. Here's a piece of cedar with a piece of pecan. Sorry, I'm not used to doing like this, but pond's white, and so I dyed it. I tried to get it purple, but it came out kind of purple. Cedar looked awesome. And actually, that was my first ever hollow form. See in there, but it's about 1/8 inch walls. And then, so here's another piece of Juniper. And again, this is a piece of mesquite. Dyed black. Remember, that's what mesquite looks like. And then here's another piece of Juniper. Natural edge. And I dyed the back. And I did a series of these, red, green, blue, like an aqua color. This is done to my wife's cousin later this year when we go visit them, but that was made for her. So anyhow, that's it, show and tell. So let me clear my bench a little bit here without breaking anything. And so here's the Riptide. This is what it looks like. Comes in a bottle like so. And unfortunately, I've only got black, purple, and red. And so I've got some mixed up. So we've got purple. And this is just a clear bottle. And so in my newsletter or in my write-up on it, if you have friends that do juicing for vaping, those little bottles that the juice comes in, that they put the vape in, they are great for any of your finishes. It doesn't matter if you've got alcohol in it or full of linseed oil or lacquer. You get zero evaporation from it, and you got immediate, spot on point of application with these tips. So I can't speak highly enough for salvaging these type of bottles from the vaping community. So anyhow, let's get on to coloring something. It's got a piece of maple. And I'm sorry, I've only got one hand. I'm going to be buying a camera pod soon. So here's a little bit of green I mixed up. So white maple, curly maple actually. You can see some of the curls here on the end grain. And again, it's just mixed with, the natured alcohol. And you just add a few drops from the bottle of Riptide. And it goes in, and you can use an air compressor to increase the drying capacity, but being alcohol, it's gonna gas off rather quick. And then always keep in mind as you're dyeing that it's always going to be darker once it's dried. Take a look at a little bit of red. The pain in the butt trying to do that with 2 fingers. So I'm going to put that up here on end grain. And it's just coloring. You can use a shop towel or a napkin or whatever, but don't worry about my finger contaminants or anything like that. I'm told wipe it off with DNA later. You know, this would be easy. Here we are with true red here. Wipe it off a little bit. So we'll let that soak in and do some black.
Dane, can you do shading with it where you could step up from the, say if you want to go from the red and the blue and put some red and shadow off of it and then come down to keep changing it?
Yes, absolutely. So you always want to put your lighter color down first and then add, you know, if you want to stand it back to get an effect and then put on a dark, if you're trying to do a sunburst, you do your yellow, you do your red, and then you do your orange, and you can do that sunburst effect. But yeah, absolutely. It's just a matter of, like you said, layering the colors. So you gotta wait for it to dry into the wood.
Looks like a fun process. And
it is. It works really well. And of course, obviously, black being black, it's gonna work a lot better. The lighter the color, the more, I wouldn't say the more applications, but definitely more applications than what the black or the purple require. Like with the green natural edge color, it probably took 4 coats, which was like nothing, and there isn't a lot that you've got to mix up to finish a project. A little bit goes a long way. So, here we are at black. I kind of over-poured that. And so I got a little bit of purple here too. So purple is another big one that I do, especially making bottle stoppers in the spear form, going for liquor bottles and old decanters. They seem to be a highlight with folks. People really like them, and I do CA finishes on top of those.
How much do you dilute them?
Again, it's a real rich color, and granted, it's wet now. I really wish I had time to set up my lathe to where or another turning on there. But again, I digress. I've been doing a little bit of metal work for the first time for the last 2 weeks, so I haven't done them and turning. And of course, at the same time, I'm starting to break out in highs because I haven't been on the lathe yet. But I appreciate the opportunity to show how.
We appreciate you showing it too. We had this come up a couple of meetings, and that's why we're all together to do just that.
Right. You see how the red's kind of soaked in that one spot there. I mean, well, I just hit some of the black that was wet there, but it doesn't. It literally goes into the wood and doesn't rub off. Here we are with that green. It's there. It's not going anywhere.
Okay.
This green is dry now, so if I was to put more green on there, we'll get a darker hue. But that's it with the Rit dye, and it's a cheap, economical way to add coloring to nondescript woods, or to a wood that you would like to do something else with. But anyhow, that's what I've got. Any questions, you can always contact me, ask me. Every week I'll always be here.
All right. And folks, you can always put your questions in a chat sheet. On the chat, there's a chat button on your operating table. And if you put a chat question in there, we'll get you the answer right then and there. But at the end of the program, if you, before you leave, on your chat screen, I'm going to go to the screen right now, because when you're on the Zoom group chat, in the lower right-hand corner is a 3 little dots in the square. If you click on those 3 little dots, it will give you an option that's the top one says save chat. Well, you can save the chat, and then later on you can review it, and you'll see who said what and what they put in the chat, and it might give you a better idea of where we were going, how we were getting there. Thank you, Dane. Appreciate the update on it. See, we're going to wrap up that poll. If you haven't voted yet, vote it right now because it is over, and we're going to share the results of it. And I got to drift over here so I can read it. 20% less than 1 year, 36% over 10 years, and it's spread out a little bit between there. That's good. All right, that gives us some targets we can aim at, because that's what we're looking for, is the targets we can aim at. And we were going pretty close. Now, here's the other part of it. It gave us who we were aiming at, but it also gave us some people we know can help us aim that way. So that 36% or so, whatever, said, we've been turning for a long time. We're waiting on you to step up and get into it. Got to think, we have Australia, Canada, United Kingdom, and I saw one more pop up here on a list where I have 75 folks joining us tonight. Welcome to all of y'all. And if you're just coming in, this is a free program, no admission fees. We're not going to try to sell you a newsletter or anything else. Just pay attention to commercials. I've got, let me see if it pops up here.
Eddie,
Yeah. Hey, hello. Go ahead, sir. I got you, Steve.
Yeah, I was just trying to tell you that Bob Moffin has his hand up.
Bob Moffat.
Yep.
Okay. Bob, come on in.
Okay, I was wondering on the Rit dye, how long it stays color fast, and what's the ratio that you mix it with the dye to the alcohol?
So I don't have a ratio for it. It's just by eyeball, based on what it looks like at the moment when I'm mixing it and how it reacts to the wood.
Does it come in a liquid form or a powder form?
No, it's a liquid form. It's totally liquid.
Don't drink it.
Oh, I'm not. I got a beer for that.
If you want,
it's totally liquid.
If you want,
and like I said, it doesn't take much. So in these bottles, so it's baked juice bottle. The primary ones that I get from my daughter and her friends are 4-ounce bottles, and I'll put 2 ounces in of denatured alcohol, and then I will, gosh, if it's a half a teaspoon, that's probably too much, so I just add, a few drops at a time, and then I mix it up and look at it, and then put it on a test piece of wood to see how it's going to react, and go from there, based on whether I'm going to add more colorant to it or not. Too much, obviously is going to be too much. Being on the lesser side is always better because you can always apply more, by letting it sit in. And then later on here, I'm not going to touch that piece of maple, but I'm going to let it dry naturally, and then we'll come back and we'll look at how the color looks.
Great idea.
How color fast is it? I'm
sorry?
Color fast, like the UV attacks?
Yeah.
Well, gosh, I don't know. I think that's going to be based on your final finish.
What's the best finish to put on it?
Based on whether you're putting black oil or, some UV protectant polyurethane. So the items that that I showed tonight are 2 years old. Yeah, they're all 2 years old except for the hollow forms, the 3 hollow forms. And so I haven't had any type of color parity. I don't know, in the last 6-7 years that I've been using it.
Okay, thank you for the information.
All right.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay. We're going to get into a little bit with something we had programmed in tonight. We have a gallery of things that got sent in by members. And this is what we use for the newsletter and this program and all. So I need to get over here and say play from the start, and up it comes. This is this week's members gallery. This is a recap from last week because I couldn't get it to work or I turned it off or whatever. But I got a couple of platters in from Bob Moffett. Now, this is some awesome, note, it's offset. And then it was offset to an offset. And then Bob will only get redundant, but it was offset to an offset to an offset. And there's some great coloring in it, which really made an outstanding looking piece. And here's another one Bob did. It's all spinning on a lathe, folks. It depends on where you chuck it, where you put your tools, and how much artistry you decide to put into it. This is nice. Dennis Whited did this bottle stopper screw-off stem on it. It's sapphire olive wood is what it's called, and it's really a nice piece. Another one by Dennis, and it took me a minute or two to realize what that would be, but that'd be a good bud vase with a nice turned base on it. Another one by Dennis, great grain and color in this, really great, and it says hickory. Patrick Hoger, it's got this. I like the graining in this. I really believe that's a grain relief. I don't believe it's cut through. I use them or a lack of embellishment. Patrick also had these pieces. He must love his little NSK saw because these are real nice detail on them. This is a little bit heavy, but if you take a hard look at it, it's good wood, good corners, good shape, good lines. And I don't know if this got crooked or was made crooked, but I like the shape.
There's another off center.
Just another off center. Okay, thank you, Patrick. This great use of the color wood in this really made this one stand out. Larry Conrad sent this in. I'm pretty sure he turned the platter plus the 3 pieces on top. All real nice. The beadwork has come out really good. Adds a lot of interest to it. Tom Seger, he's got a couple of pieces in here tonight. I like the finish on this. Really nice. Calls out the texture of the wood. That's a flip on another one that Tom did for us. He got a little artsy on the bottom. See the bark capture on the left. Really good looking piece of work. Don Wilson did this. When you turn the upper rim on that, you're turning 1% wood and 99% air. Is that how it went, Don? Okay, I thought Don was in there with us. Bob Moffett sent a couple in. Here's one. And that's paint finish on the top of it. And here's a flip on another one. Bob sent us little embellishing on a ring and on the base. Looks like 1, 2, 3, at least 3 embellishing features on the bottom of this piece. Nice. Dan from Lehigh, because Dan says I never pronounce his name properly. So quit calling him Dilla and just say it's Dan from Lehigh. He's turning a couple of pieces. I like this. I like the grain exposure. Dan, if you're around, is this Palm? Dan? I don't see Dan. Okay. And guess what? This is a really pretty piece of wood. And the guy sent it by one of those damn message systems. And I can't get his name. I can't get anything about the wood. It's not the wood you want pictures showing up. But if you got a photograph, all you have to do is send it to us at worldwidewoodturners@gmail.com. That's it. No other way. I have to get them in, get them edited, get them cropped to make it work, and we'll use them for weekly programs, newsletter, Facebook, and our upcoming website. It'll be completed pretty soon once we get it worked out. Now, when you take a picture of your work, I'm going to do this in just a minute. This is a mandrel with a couple. All right. This is a picture I got. This is what we can do with it when we won't go in and close up on it. We show folks the knurling, the threads, the spacers, the Morse tape on the end over here, and all that. That's what we're looking to get. Oh, that's a ugly kid. Here's a couple of rings I did. And it was right here on the desk. Now, that doesn't give you a whole lot of detail, but that does. So if you give me a piece, make it a well-lighted photograph, and space it out to where I can go in and crop it down. Now, if I put these rings 2 inches apart, I really couldn't crop it down that much. So work with us and we'll work with you. That's a picture of the best look we turn in my house. And then we closed up on it. If you can handle it, that's what we did.
Look at it.
Hello. Somebody jump in? Okay.
No.
All right. Rick Coche, we were talking about this earlier, and Rick's with us. He's with a club out of Texas. Pardon me, Rick. He put this compartment. That's a yellow mustard lathe on the right-hand side there. He put this little shelf on the end of his lathe, and this is where he sets his vacuum pump for doing his vacuum chucking. Well, these are his assorted chucking features and tailstock features and adapters and connectors and drive spurs, his step centers, all that on this little tray that slides in and out. We're not talking about raggedy sliding. Look, he's got a steel draw slide on it, double extension steel draw slide on it. So that's what he built up to keep the stuff intact. This is partially closed. You know, he's got a little room on the end for his handle, for his tap, his dies, his filter set in back there so it doesn't vibrate off. The head on it is perfect for he won't bother the motor when you're doing adjustments. And oops, I thought I could go back on that. There it is. That's another view of it on the side. So this is really nice, Rick. I like this kind of input.